I'm Roberto Barbini, and in this video I will show you how to take advantage of ChatGPT and teach him how to code the way that you like. My first tentatives with ChatGPT were a bit disappointing. The problem was that it was able to provide me a lot of code, but the code wasn't really the quality that I would use, the quality that I would put in my application. And also the style was different. I mean, sometimes was good, sometimes was a mixed bag of styles, different, clearly something that, copy and pasting different example from internet or Stack Overflow and putting together. That was the kind of taste of the code that GPT was producing for me. So I was thinking like, okay, maybe AI, apart from all the hype, apart from that, is really amazing. I mean, no question about it, but it's really not ready for production code. But then a friend explained to me how to use long prompt, and this really changed everything for me. So now ChatGPT is really able to enhance my productivity a lot. To see what I mean, let's take an example. Let's see. I open a browser on ChatGPT. We can choose the model, and I will choose the new one, the GPT-4 model. And then let's put a prompt. And I asked ChatGPT to develop a Kotlin application using my favorite framework that serves as a backend for a basic e-commerce website. The API must offer the following functionality. So we click, and as I said, ChatGPT will provide us the Kotlin code and some explanation how to use. Okay, let's look at the code that he produced. There is basically a main application and defining the routes. And then this is HTTP 4K DSL to define the routes. And all the logic is inside the routes. And note that also everything basically works with a specific cart. So there is no everything is in the same cart. There is no concept of the user. And clearly the cart is a global variable. So this is kind of okay if you want to have an hello world, but it's not something that really you can think to use in production. So instead, of course, just to want to say, it's possible to interactively ask ChatGPT to introduce this and this, but this kind of confusing and length process, and probably at the end it's easy to write the stuff yourself. So what instead I want to say, if I will tell you ChatGPT how I want the application done. So I have prepared some prompts in I put in GitHub, so you can see in my GitHub this prompts project with a few. And there is one HTTP vanilla, which is you see quite a long prompt with all the basically basic functionality or how I want HTTP used. So I will put this prompt in HTTP, and then basically copy my previous prompt on the top. And this is something that I'm not really sure what is. I mean, it's better to put a init prompt at the beginning or the end, but it works both way. So for me, it's a bit easier if I say the same prompt that before, and here I specify how to use HTTP for okay. And let's see what this code produces this time. And now it generated, and you can see that I had to run it twice because the first time it was just doing a micro example, but the second time was the correct one. And this happens sometimes, not so often, but it's really not a problem. Just ask to regenerate the response if the response is not perfect. But you can see that this is actually very good code. I mean, this is the hub, which is the abstraction of our model, which is an interface, and the hooks of HTTP4K are using the hub, and they are basically uh, extracting the data from the path to do the calling the correct operation on the hub. And then also this is how you put all together, and there is also a basic authentication filter that we can use to generate the user. And this is more or less, I mean, clearly the real hub is not defined, but that is okay, because this is a kind of a working skeleton, something that we start writing our application this way, and then once we have this stuff in production, so in production I mean CI, we verify that everything goes well, we start implementing the domain, and we already have all the infrastructure in place. And this is boring code, quite automatically written, and having ChatGPT write this code for you is really great. And now I wanted to tell you another example, which is also quite useful. I ask, as you can see, HTTP to write some classes, basically. I use a product, a cart item that is, I mean, a cart that is an interface with the two specific class. And, for this kind of, and it quickly generated the classes and the interface. And now I will ask ChatGPT, can you generate me? You have to know that Condor.json is a library that I wrote, and it's I mean open source library to basically generate JSON from a specific data classes without using reflection, but with let's say a functional programming paradigm and a kind of DSL. The the advantage of using Condor is that basically you don't need to do DTO, so you can map exactly your object to a JSON very precisely without using annotation, without using reflection. But you have to write this kind of converters, which is a bit boring, and it's probably faster than writing DTO, but still, I mean, something that you have to write. Now, you may have guessed what's the next step. So we ask ChatGPT to generate the converters for us. And now the problem is that ChatGPT doesn't know anything about Condor because it's not a famous library. So clearly it's not in his domain of knowledge. So it just basically hallucinate and produce some stuff that is not my library Condor, and it just, I mean, make up some random stuff, which is clearly not what we want. So instead, I mean, using the same identical input, I just asking, here are the instructions on how to use conda.json. And as you can guess, I have another prompt completely just a copy paste to how to use a conda.json. And it's quite long, but you can see it just start generating the um, the converters. And this time is actually using my own converters, and also using the style that I specified, and it will let's see how it goes. This is very nice because basically instead of write a documentation for your library, you just have to write a good um, prompt for Chat-GPT, and it can generate the stuff for you much faster than any code generator or stuff like that. And it's also very easy to use. And you can see also here it's generating basically the how Condo use inheritance, I mean polymorphism with the discriminator file name and everything. So this is absolutely something that perfectly usable, and you can use right away. And this is all. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this material, you know, I have wrote a book about this kind of topics. I mean, not the GPT, but how to write a good application with Kotlin in functional style for backend. And also, if you, this is my first video on YouTube, so if you like this video, you like this format, let me know on Twitter or in this comments. So if I found a good feedback, I will try to write other video. Otherwise, I will continue with the blog. So this is a bit of experiment for me. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.